Jesus. Hi everyone, Charles here with you on a Monday morning, which is Monday's actually my favorite day of the week, but we won't get into that. Well, I thought what I do here is just read from a few different stories instead of making an individual video for each one. They all have to do with the Synod. So I'll give you some other idea about what some of the other things that are being said are. All right, so let's begin. The Youth Synod was not about producing a document, but rather about creating smokescreens and providing cover for the placement of poison pills and landmines, Father John Zuhldorf suspects on his blog, October 28th. The proof: most of the Synod's participants who voted for the document were not even able to read it because it was available only in Italian. Zuhldorf concludes, abandon Latin, and this, folks, is what you get, babble. He calls the Synod a sort of Pentecost in reverse, where everyone who ought to understand each other are suddenly made unable to. Zuhldorf's assessment of the document is devastating. To give you an idea of how shallow, how bereft of value this document is, liturgy was lumped together with sport. Well, that's pretty amazing, too. Father Zuhldorf, you could, I'm going to spell his name for you. Zuhlsdorf, and he goes by the name of Father Z. And, he's a very traditional priest, and he's very outspoken. You might want to just use Google to look up his blog and maybe bookmark it if you want. So, you could read, I'll read what he's got to say as we move forward. So that's what Father Z's got to say about what's going on. Now, Pope Francis made the comment, I don't know, it was Saturday or Sunday, that the document was the work of the Holy Spirit. Things like that make me cringe, but and at the same time, we honestly, we always need to be open to the fact that we're in error. I mean, I can't believe that we're all wrong about what's going on in the church, and, we're actually the ones being manipulated by the enemy, but, there's always a possibility of that, in all honesty. So we always need to keep that in mind. Let's see what, Cardinal Marx always makes me cringe. The Youth Synod, this is what he's got to say. The Youth Synod's final document is a step to change the church. Yeah, right. I guess so. Munich Cardinal Reinhard Marx has claimed on October 27. According to VaticanNews.va, Marx, whose archdiocese has assets of 3.3 billion euros, sees the document as encouragement to develop a new kind of church that talks to the people. Okay? And this is at the same time, he's talking about a church that talks to the people, and the Pope is talking about it, that the people in the church need to listen, in other words, don't talk, listen. A new kind of church that talks to the people. And then his comment is, that submits to the demands of the oligarchs' journalism. Well, anyway, let's see here. And liturgies lumped together with sport. Here, what do we got here? What's this one here? That we probably already talked about here. We'll talk about this one here. All I gotta do is find it here. Oh, here. Strong tensions arose during the Youth Synod, October 26, in the context of the election of the 16 members of the Secretariat who will organize next year's Amazon Synod. The Pro Gregorio degli Il Messaggero or something, .it writes, adding that the Amazon Synod will abolish priestly celibacy. According to the paper, the American and Italian bishops were deeply divided about the candidate. Who's in here? Cardinal Joseph Tobin is going to represent the United States. An ultra-progressive archbishop from Bologna, Matteo Zuppi. And we now know that we've seen the Synod in action, and if Pope Francis rubber stamps this document, it becomes a magisterium. In other words, a teaching of the Church. Now, whether that overrides the official teaching, I don't. The Synod document doesn't really spell out new teaching. It's not like that, Whereas if you really read the teachings of the Church, they're spelled out very specifically what they are on this topic or that topic, and this document isn't like that. So, the Church can be really very confusing, and to understand how the Church works is really takes a lot of study and a long time, and I don't claim to know how it works very well. So anyway, so they're using the Synod to change the teachings of the Church. However, that how it sort of manifests itself in the future, we'll have to see. But I'm sure we all think that it's not going to be good. And then there's this is on a different topic, but I'll throw this in here too. So I already mentioned this little piece of information here. I'll mention it again. Vatican leaders are now calling for Catholics on the internet who do not meet their approval to be censored. The censorship would come in the denial of official certification from the Holy See. Precisely how such a process would work was not specifically addressed within the final Youth Synod document or any other place at the moment. What is clear is that leaders in the Vatican are feeling the heat and are concerned about continuing to lose control of their carefully constructed narrative. Paragraph 146 of the final approved Synod document speaks to the need for creating certification systems for Catholic websites to counter the spread of fake news regarding the Church. My sense of what this is about is places like Church Militant, LifeSite News, in other words, all the traditional Catholic news media sites would have to receive certification, and if they didn't, of course, the Catholic Church could say, they could sort of make it public information that Catholics shouldn't follow these sites, but what they could really do legally, of course, now, they could put pressure on the web host, LifeSite News was, I mentioned this before, but I know every person doesn't read every, or doesn't see every video, so they were informed Saturday evening, look at the timing of that their website was going to be taken down within 12 hours. This has to do with, what the story is behind that, as far as what LifeSite is saying, what's behind that, is another topic. But, whether this web hosting service that they use is using it as a reason to do that, or There's some pressure on them from somewhere else. I mean, we need to keep in mind that the Vatican is and the Pope are, very much liked by by the secular world and by the secular media. I mean, they really think he was sent by the Holy Spirit to straighten out the church. So, well, okay, I just wanted to, give you some different notes that are coming up, and I think that's it for now. So I'm going to let you go, and we'll talk to you later in the day. Bye.